Imagine a world where your favorite AI chatbot, the one that answers your questions in seconds, is secretly devouring more electricity than entire countries. What if the very technology promising to revolutionize our lives is quietly triggering blackouts, skyrocketing bills, and environmental chaos? In 2024 alone, data centers gobbled up 415 terawatt-hours of electricity, enough to power Japan.
Artificial intelligence data centers, or physical buildings or facilities that house computer systems, are predicted to drive demand to record highs in the coming years.
And with AI adoption exploding, this hunger is set to double by 2030, turning a tech triumph into a potential trillion-dollar crisis. Today, we uncover the hidden costs of AI's massive energy consumption, how it's straining communities, inflating utility bills, and ravaging the environment. Stick around to discover if there's a way out, or if we're headed for an unstoppable meltdown. Artificial intelligence isn't just a buzzword. It's a general-purpose technology reshaping everything from medicine to manufacturing. Driven by cheaper computation, endless data, and breakthroughs like large language models, AI has surged from niche research to a multi-trillion-dollar powerhouse. Think of it as electricity 2.0. It generates text, videos, accelerates drug discovery, optimizes robots, and even drives taxis in busy cities. But here's the catch. There's no AI without energy. Training and deploying these models happens in colossal data centers, facilities packed with servers, storage, and cooling systems that run non-stop. A typical data center consumes as much power as 100,000 households. But the AI-focused giants under construction today, they'll guzzle 20 times that. Globally, data centers accounted for 1.5% of electricity use in 2024, with the US leading at 45%, China at 25%, and Europe at 15%. Investment has doubled since 2022, hitting $500 billion last year. Yet beneath this boom lies a stark reality. AI's insatiable appetite is imposing hidden costs on communities, economies, and the planet. States like Virginia, Ohio, and Washington are luring tech giants like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Meta with incentives promising jobs. But the long-term burdens tell a different story. Let's dive into the heart of the crisis: AI's colossal energy demands. Once built, data centers dwarf even construction phase power needs. In Virginia, home to a dense cluster of these facilities, they now consume 21% of the state's total energy, a figure climbing higher. Globally, consumption has grown 12% annually since 2017, 4 times faster than overall electricity use. By 2030, it's projected to hit 945 terawatt-hours, more than Japan's current total. But who foots the bill? Not just the tech companies. Utility firms pour billions into grid upgrades and new lines, costs passed on to residents and businesses. In places like Prince William County, Virginia, locals report plummeting water pressure and sediment in their taps because millions of gallons are diverted daily for data center cooling. Water usage in Data Center Alley jumped 63% from 2019 to 2023, all thanks to AI infrastructure. The environmental toll? Immense. Data centers emit 180 million tons of CO2 today, rising to 300 million by 2035 in baseline scenarios. Training a model like GPT-3 alone spews 502 metric tons, equal to 112 cars' annual emissions. And that's just training. Real-time queries, like a ChatGPT request, use 100 times more energy than a Google search. In the US, data centers make up 4% of electricity use, with 56% from fossil fuels, pumping out over 105 million tons of CO2. Emissions from tech giant centers may be 7 times underreported, widening the transparency gap. Communities bear the brunt. What starts as promises of thousands of jobs often ends in temporary construction gigs, with scarce permanent roles. Meanwhile, states offer millions in tax breaks, forcing locals to pay higher taxes to compensate. Neighborhoods transform. Peaceful rural areas become industrial eyesores with windowless buildings. Constant humming from fans, light pollution disrupting sleep, and construction dust choking the air. Brownouts and blackouts spike as grids strain. Data centers get priority, leaving families with spoiled groceries while servers hum on. Ever wondered why your utility bill crept up? In drought-prone regions, AI's water footprint exacerbates scarcity, hitting underserved communities hardest. Geopolitically, it sharpens tensions. Countries racing for AI dominance risk falling behind without reliable power, while supply chains for chips rely on critical metals like gallium, 99% controlled by China. Breaking it down, data centers are complex beasts. Servers handle 60% of power, with AI accelerators like GPUs driving the surge, growing 30% annually. Cooling varies. Efficient hyperscale centers use 7%, but older ones hit 30%. Types matter too. Enterprise, colocation, hyperscale, all contribute to growth. Regionally, the U.S. leads with per capita consumption at 540 kilowatt-hours in 2024, soaring to 1,200 by 2030, 10% of a household's annual use. China follows with 170% growth. Emerging economies? They hold 50% of internet users, but under 10% of capacity. Leapfrogging to AI, but facing outages. Market dynamics? AI is a driver, but data centers are just 10% of global electricity growth to 2030, less than EVs or air conditioning. Yet locally, they're concentrated. Like half of U.S. capacity in 5 clusters, straining grids. 20% of projects risk delays from connection queues. Stakeholder views clash. Tech sees AI as transformative, potentially saving emissions equivalent to 120 million cars in transport or 300 terawatt-hours in buildings. But critics highlight rebounds, like autonomous vehicles boosting personal mobility. Environmentalists decry underreported emissions and resource inequity, where AI benefits the rich while burdening the poor. Geopolitically, AI sharpens security risks. Cyber attacks tripled, but AI defends too. Innovation? AI accelerates discoveries, like 45,000-fold in proteins, but only 2% of energy startups use it. Nuclear enters the fray. Deals like Microsoft's 3 Mile Island restart or Google's SMR investments promise low-carbon power. But challenges loom. SMRs unproven in the West, costs overrun, delays, waste issues, timing. AI needs power now. New reactors take decades. Is there hope? Absolutely, if we act. First, efficiency. Techniques like model pruning, quantization, and knowledge distillation/energy use without losing performance. Software and hardware tweaks could save 15% in high-efficiency scenarios. Renewables lead, half of demand growth met by solar, wind, backed by storage. Tech giants commit, Google 100% renewables since 2017, Microsoft carbon negative by 2030. Natural gas and nuclear fill gaps, with gas expanding 175 terawatt-hours and nuclear 175 terawatt-hours by 2035. Advanced cooling. Liquid systems cut consumption 18% versus air, minimizing water. Microsoft and Meta adapt EV tech for high-density racks. Policy. Mandate transparency on energy water use. Peer-reviewed studies. Community votes. Tie tax breaks to jobs renewables. Zoning keeps centers industrial. U.S. states like Minnesota require water conservation. Ireland reevaluates permits. Global SBTI benchmarks. AI Energy Score for accountability. Decentralized models build on indigenous lands with renewables, boosting communities. Broader, AI itself optimizes energy. Industrial automation saves like Mexico's total use. Pros, scalable, innovative. Cons, barriers like data access, skills gaps, rebounds. But collaboration between tech and energy, key to unlocking. By 2030, data centers could consume 3% globally, up to 4.4% in high growth. US, half of demand growth from centers, surpassing heavy industries. Uncertainties, liftoff sees 45% more if AI surges. Headwinds plateau if bottlenecks hit. Nuclear deals signal interest, but SMR's unlikely before the 2030s. Proven plants limited. AI could cut emissions 5% via applications, but no silver bullet. Rebounds risk undercutting. Emerging economies leapfrog, but power reliability key. In 2025, grid strains worsen amid economic uncertainties, trade wars over metals. AI startups boom, but 90% fail. Energy costs a killer. Overall, deeper tech energy ties, but risks like emissions and geopolitics loom. Proactive policy or bust. What can we learn from this power-hungry saga? Lesson 1. Transparency is non-negotiable. Demand full disclosure on AI's impacts to avoid hidden burdens on your wallet and world. Lesson 2. Efficiency first, whether optimizing models or personal energy use, small tweaks yield big savings, shielding against bill hikes. Lesson 3. Community voice matters. Push for votes and zoning to protect neighborhoods from industrial takeovers. Lesson 4. Diversify sources. Rely on renewables, nuclear, and AI innovations to weather grid strains and economic shifts. Lesson 5. Balance innovation with sustainability. AI's potential is vast, but unchecked growth risks careers in energy-dependent fields. Adapt now for 2025's uncertainties. If this exposed the AI crisis shook you, smash that like button to spread awareness. Share with friends in tech or energy. What's your take on powering the future? Drop comments below. How might this hit your career? Subscribe for more deep dives into industry shakes, like doomed businesses in 2025. Hit the bell. Don't miss the next revelation.